Shall we extend a round of applause to Abdullah Mohammad?
Hello. Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you for joining us, Saad.
Thanks so much.
The audience have just seen the film, and I'm sure they are very impressed by the film, and also where they're digesting the very powerful content in it. But maybe, do you want to say a few words to the audience first, Saad?
Sure. Thanks so much for coming to watch our film. It's been a very challenging production. It's a huge honor for us to be able to present the film in Hong Kong Asian Film Festival. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much, Saad. So maybe I'll just begin the Q&A with a question of mine, and a very basic question at that. Actually, what inspired you in making this film of creating this story about this very oppressed teacher trying to fight for justice?
Thank you. Actually, I was thinking of Rehana from around 12 or 13 before my first film, but I think at that time I wasn't quite sure what I really want to do, what should be my investigation and what should be the examination. I grew up in a family with 3 elder sisters, so I have always been very influenced by them, and I have seen closely them as my sisters, and then I saw them in professional life, and then they became mothers. So I kind of observed the whole transformation and everything. So, and I was fascinated by them, how they think, what they think of their world. So I always wanted to do something about this kind of person. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But the injustice felt by Rehana in this film. So where did you get the inspiration for this story about an academic and intellectual using extreme means to fight gender oppression?
I try to write from my personal experiences. Of course, it comes from my personal experience, in a sense, you can say that. We have seen, at least, if not witnessed, heard, and somehow know these stories for a very long time. I mean, there were so many things I heard from my friends in my universities, and later on from my colleagues when they they start working their professional job. So I always wanted to do something about it. So yeah, I think hearing those stories always kind of inspired me to do something about it.
Mm-hmm. But I think another question I have in mind is quite an obvious one. Why so blue? I mean, what's the meaning of the color in the general atmosphere?
Mm-hmm. I wanted to convey the inner turmoil of Rehana, how she feels the turbulences that happens inside her mind. But at the same time, I didn't want to show or give too many information or explanation, and I didn't want to show too many backstories. So I felt like this bluish hue would somehow help me create the feeling, the atmosphere of anxiety and uncertainty in this chamber drama. So yeah, I think it helped me to create the atmosphere in my audience's mind.
Indeed, it did create a very vivid portrayal of Rehana's inner turmoil. I'm sure, well, I do have a lot of questions, but as we don't have enough that much time, maybe I should just open it up to the floor so that the audience would have the opportunity to ask questions. So if you have any questions for Saad, please raise your hand, and then my colleague will pass you the microphone. Any questions? Okay, this lady.
Hi.
Hello.
It was great to watch the movie. I was curious to see how was it received in Bangladesh when you started to show it?
Thank you for your question. Actually just started screening it in Bangladesh from 12, just from yesterday. So far, we are having very interesting response, very powerful response. And I think women are relating more with this film and they're sharing their experiences. I think we have started a dialogue in a sense in Bangladesh, and I hope it will provoke some thoughts and create some conversation.
So how are you actually distributing the film in Bangladesh? Because Saad, you told me you're doing it by yourself. I mean, to
Right.
bring the film in the around the country.
Unfortunately, we don't have a well-structured distribution system. There's a distribution system for the very commercial and mainstream films. So films like Rehana, they don't get wide release, but we want to show our film to our audience, to our people. So we are contacting with the theater owners and discussing with them and giving them and requesting them to show our films. And so far we have managed 12 theaters in 4 different cities. And if the first week goes well, then we hope maybe we could get more theaters from the second week.
Yeah, I'm sure it's going to go very well because for some background information, actually Rehana Maryam Noor, Saad's film premiered at the Cannes Film Festival at the Uncertain Regards section, and it received very, very warm reviews there. So it was a very good start. And then, of course, we are honored to have it here. Any other questions for Saad? Okay, please.
It's not actually a question. I want to compliment Saad. Saad, I'm from Bangladesh. And I believe yeah, thank you very much. I'm from Bangladesh, and I don't know whether any other Bengali people here. So please convey my wishes to Badhan, because Badhan, the lead actress, her act is so powerful. And the storyline is usual, but your presentation is also very excellent. And so I convey my thanks from all the Hong Kong audiences. My wife was sick just 2 days ago. She was admitted to hospital, but she came just to, because this movie, we had a great expectation from you. And thank you very much. You presented well from your, and I believe all the audiences, especially the girls, they need to learn how to empower themselves. That's the biggest message. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much for coming.
Yeah, thank you very much. And thanks all the audiences, because you came. I was really surprised. I hope that most of the people will be from my country, but I really find very enjoying that you Chinese people, you came here to enjoy a Bangladeshi movie. And thank you very much, and all the audiences again.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, a question and then.
Thank you so much to making such a powerful movie. I'm happy that the director is a man and not a woman director. And also I thank you for your 3 elder sisters who gave you so many inspiration to do this. And I thank you, you choose the principal of the school is a woman, although she act like a man. And I saw the Rehana, even she is a widow. She has a brother, but jobless. She has a father, but always sick. So it seems besides her, don't have any man who has a job, but she still has a job. And I think women are very difficult to have such courage and brave to stand out. And I hope you can make many other stories like that, and not only courage, but I think they also need wisdom and also lots of support from their surroundings. And thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Hello. So I had just this one very simple question. I think you already answered it. I noticed that the camera was never really stable throughout the whole film. Was it to express the turmoil and the anxiousness that Rehana had inside her?
Yes, that's what we wanted to do. Our intention was to create that uncertain uneasiness around Rehana's world, because as I was saying earlier, I didn't want to give too many information, but I wanted to create that feeling. I wanted to convey that feeling, how she's trapped into this world from where apparently there's no escape. It's a situation where she decides to confront and deal with it. So I wanted to create that feeling, the turbulence happening inside her mind. Yeah.
I just wanted to check, so why didn't the story have an ending?
May I ask, what did you think of the ending?
I thought it was we didn't get to see at the end whether anything came out of her, all her efforts. I just wanted to see what you thought as a director. Do you think at the end it would have paid off, or do you think it wouldn't have?
First of all, I prefer to leave space for audience interpretation. My intention was to present Rehana's case and let my audience judge or become the jury. Whatever decision she has made for her daughter, was that right or wrong? I mean, for me, it was interesting because it's an ongoing fight, right? I mean, at least at this point, I don't see any real answer or any real solution. I mean, the question was, how do you raise your daughter in this world? I mean, do you want her to be apologetic, compromise, and find a not fulfilled life, or do you want her to be unapologetic? Do you want her to fight and face so many difficulties, so many obstructions? So what is the right way, or eventually is there any? So I wanted to raise that question through Rehana's decision, that the choice Rehana made at the very end by not letting her daughter apologize and enjoy the show. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I have two parts for my question. The first part is, how much does it reflect the reality in Bangladesh? Of course, I have a lot of colleagues I have met a lot of people from, let's say, India, Sri Lanka, not so many from Bangladesh. So we of course, the inequality of male and female is quite substantial. You can understand, right? So, but I want to know how true is it? What you reflected in your story, does it reflect today's Bangladesh? And the second question, the second part of the question is, given this background, given this reality, it seems to me the way you presented Rehana's way of dealing with it is, she knows it's not the right way. She knows she get to nowhere. Now, this comes to a very interesting part, is if we are talking about Western world or even Hong Kong, where gender equality is a little bit better, I'm sure the ladies or the women will choose a very different strategy or tactics when they face this situation. Now, of course, maybe the legal system is better, maybe the situation is better, they have more routes to take. But the way you presented, it seems she knows she got nowhere. She knows she won't be successful. But why are you still presenting such a how to say, it's like a hopeless situation? Why don't you create a little bit, show us a bit of light in the end of the tunnel, or is it so really the situation is so bad in Bangladesh?
It's a very interesting question. Thank you. Well, of course, obviously the story is setting in Bangladesh, but to be honest, when I was writing the screenplay, I chose to do the film because one of the reasons was that to me it felt very universal. I felt that you can find Rehana everywhere in this world. I mean, just as you said, maybe there are countries where the legal system are better, where the inequalities are not much. Here it is, but I wanted to understand when a woman witnesses a situation that might have happened to her or that could have happened to her, how she deals with it in this world. So I think for me it felt really universal. I don't want to claim myself as an expert of the statistics, how women are doing in our country, but it's pretty real. I mean, because things like this happen and are happening every day, and most of them are unheard of. So yeah. And the second part, I think you asked me about the hopelessness. I don't know, as I kept writing, things got darker and darker. When I tried to understand Rehana's point of view perspective, I felt like there is I cannot sugarcoat it, or I didn't want to be politically correct or anything. I wanted to understand this woman, how it's a woman who does not look away, you know, and unlike so many of us, she doesn't just accept. I mean, so I wanted to understand who this person are, the human who does not look away and decides to confront it. So as I was exploring the situation, it just got darker and darker. I did not want to intentionally create any darker world, or it just happened, to be honest.
Okay, so are there any other questions for this lady over here, please?
Hi,
Hello.
I'm actually Bangladeshi as well. And yeah, so a few of us came here. We were very excited. A Bengali film was like being screened here in Hong Kong. But I really like the way you've portrayed Rehana. I really like the way you've portrayed her character. As for the movie, as a woman, as a Bangladeshi woman, and I know there's so many women out there like Rehana who are leaders in the society, who are actually leading the country in a way. In terms of gender equality, Bangladesh has gone much further than what's being portrayed here. And I just feel a little bit disturbed knowing that this is what the system is, where there seems to be no solution. And that's what's being portrayed in most of the towards most of the countries, right? Because hopefully, I really hope that in your next film, you'd be able to portray some sort of solution where the system can actually help women like Rehana get somewhere. There are so many women out there, men out there fighting for women's rights. And I just feel like just that bit about the system not really supporting Rehana, maybe that bit is a bit true, but there are solutions, and I'd really appreciate it if you would be able to, you know, portray that in your next movie. Apart from that, I think the way she's handled the situation, at least she was the only one speaking up, and that's really brave of her. I'm glad that you were able to show that. But again, like, it leaves me a bit disturbed knowing that I come from a country where women aren't as safe. So before doing this movie, I know you've based on like, and I know there has been situations like that, but how much research did you do? Like how much research, like actual research, and have you actually spoken to victims? And when you've based your story on their experiences, so like how much research did you do in order to make this story, especially considering how much like this movie is getting so much exposure out in the world and sort of portraying Bangladesh as well. So I'd really like to know whether there were like any legit research behind it.
Thanks for your question. Yes, I did some research. Initially, I talked a lot to my sisters, my friends, even with my protagonist, the cast, Ajmir Baton, about the situations. But the thing is, the more I was thinking about the stories, about the situation, I did not choose to make my protagonist the victim, because I felt that I probably cannot understand the feeling of being violated, so I didn't want to make the film that where I don't understand or I don't have a clue about my protagonist. So I chose to tell the story through a witness's point of view, a witness who sees this girl and now what she does. You know what I mean? That way I could at least some sort of examination investigation I could do, because I can put myself there. I cannot put myself in a victim's mind if I didn't go through that situation. You know what I mean? I have answered your question. Do you think so?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was actually asking whether you did enough research regarding the system, obviously not from the victim's perspective, because you're portraying, not just like one medical college within Bangladesh, you're actually portraying what the system is like within Bangladesh, right? So I was wondering whether you've done any proper, like, backed up research regarding similar cases that has happened. And there's been like plenty of cases, right? So I was just wondering if you've done that before making this movie. Or whether it's all fiction. Just, yeah.
As I was saying, I did some research at the very beginning, but then when I found my protagonist, I felt like I should tell it personally, not through statistics or how the statistics of the system, whether the system is actually how the system is. The system, you feel the system. I mean, I didn't want to, because it happened so many times, so many stories I heard. I kind of felt how this system can make someone feel. So yes, I probably don't have any real statistics in my hand, but I talked to the women. I have discussed about this with a lot of women. So yeah.
This is actually a conversation that we should continue, and we would hope to continue. But sadly, we are running out of time because we've got another screening coming up. But I think it speaks volumes about this film's power in terms of the discussion and the debate that it provoked among the audience today, and I'm sure among audiences everywhere in the world. So thank you so much, Saad, for bringing this film to us. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for joining us for this post-screening Q&A and allowing us to screen Rehana Maryam Noor. Thank you so much. Thank you.
All my pleasure and honor.
Okay, and thank you for coming to the screening of Rehana Maryam Noor at the Hong Kong Asian Film Festival this evening. Thank you so much, and bye-bye, Saad.
Bye-bye. Take care.